a link. So first of all, that's the link. It doesn't change. It's always there. I'm giving it to you in the chat. And that's really useful. I hope that it is useful to you guys because you can always get to this link. And these are really useful links. I find that often people ask me a question, and by now I just refer back to some link from here. So first of all, what is it? What is this link? It is a series of webinars. We run it every Friday at noon Central Time. Initially, it was Hugging Face because back then when we started, which was, as you can see, December 9, 22, Hugging Face was pretty much the big news and the only kid on the block. But then OpenAI appeared, and yesterday I saw an interesting thing. If we go to trends, okay, trend, and we'll look at Hugging Face, which is a library that allows you to have fun Hugging Face with machine learning and models and all of that, then it was a good thing, you see, or jumping up and down. And in fact, it's maybe closest competitor. If TensorFlow, you can think of it as a closest competitor, as maybe the software, you will see that they were quite competitive, and that would be a good thing for both. Either if you're a TensorFlow, because that's the basic machine learning and the neural network library. And before 2015, nothing existed for that. And then appeared Hugging Face, and it was quite popular. And then suddenly, right in the middle, we had OpenAI. Or we can put here ChatGPT. It will probably be the same thing. And that's what happened. Left them all in the dust, and then we added ChatGPT, and essentially now just completely on ChatGPT plus a lot of other things. So what I plan to do today, and every time I announce what we're going to do, it's June 30. Today, we are going to look at some courses that you guys can take. And as I often say, the earth is full of knowledge, and you cannot pay for them. These courses are free. Some people told me, no, I want some payable courses because it's better. Well, in that case, just the opposite. It is awesome, great collection, and they don't take money. I'll tell you about these courses, then I will tell you about the new latest course, and it's all from Andrew Ng. And then I will show some of my projects, what I'm working on. Now, the reason that might be interesting is not so much because I'm working on it, but because I'm telling you secrets. It's straight from my lab, so maybe my boss wouldn't be happy if and I'm on record and just show everything I'm doing. But again, I feel that I'm not inventing anything. I'm learning from others. So why don't you learn from me? That's the story. Now, I see that we have a little note, and I'm watching these notes, trying to see. And Lawrence says a wonderful thing. Wouldn't PyTorch be a competitor to that as well? Yes, PyTorch. Okay, the story was just as a water cooler conversation, the story was that TensorFlow was a big thing in 2015, but and Google even built a whole strategy on that. They said, we'll build a hardware that runs TensorFlow, and that the world will come to us. But it was a great strategy, and they created TPU, TensorFlow Processing Unit, even sounds nice. But came Facebook with its PyTorch. Thank you for that note. And torch. And kind of stole the thunder a little bit. Nobody can compare to the ChatGPT. Let me put ChatGPT instead. GPT, because that's more correct. It's mostly also more impressive. Okay. Yes, TensorFlow was great, but then came PyTorch, and now what do you call your computer? PCU, PyTorch processing unit, and now comes Amazon, and they also call their processing CPU, but it's not TensorFlow processing unit. It's I think Trainium. Trainium stands for training. But that's all besides the point, because here's ChatGPT beats everybody, and that's all we talk about. So therefore, that's what we will talk about. And in the end, I will show the practical stuff. So it's more or less theory here, but in the end, it will be practical. Now, to make it even more fun, I will stop sharing. I will share again. And now when I share, I click on this button, which is called Share Sound. Now, if I'm going to show you any video, you will also listen to that video with me. Well, whatever comes up, I'm not responsible for that. All right. So these are wonderful courses. I will tell you what they are about. And let's click one at a time. So course number one, I found it most useful for me. Out of all other courses, that course is what I frequently imitate. I start with their notebooks and continue with copy of that notebook. So every new project has elements of this course. The course is Deep Learning AI, and you have those links, so I don't have to give you those links anymore. And every course is constructed pretty much in the same way. First, they talk about this. So they, for example, talk about this. And they say that whatever you do, nothing works the first time. Iterative development is the key. Now, first of all, they talk. Let me show you how they talk.
When I've been building applications with large language models, I don't think I've ever come to the prompt that I ended up using in the final application on my first attempt. And this isn't what matters. As long as you have...
All right, so great team, and they're all smiling. And this is a code that works. So you cannot, no, I think you can even run it in the environment, I think so. And you can copy that and put it into your notebook. So as long as you're familiar with notebooks, then you have just copy paste, do it with us, complete course. And it talks about thing number one. How do I talk to ChatGPT? Now, recently I was teaching in an environment where they have regulations, and they're not allowed to just use ChatGPT inside the company network for free. It will steal something. You're still allowed to talk about this and chat about this and learn about this. Just don't run it unapproved within our network, because it might do something to us. What I do there is still, that's valuable knowledge. I say it's either ChatGPT or any other LLM, large language model, that you can substitute. Now, personally, I don't substitute ChatGPT with other language models, just because it's no point wasting time. Nobody beats ChatGPT. There's a lot of why we can talk about this. But I recently saw that there was Viconia, stable Viconia, which claimed that it's just as good. So perhaps I will run it. It's just that there are so many interesting things to be done with ChatGPT now. I, at least personally, don't even have the time to investigate a competitor, but maybe Bard soon will be up to par. We'll see that. In any case, that is the first course, and it tells you how to talk to ChatGPT in a normal, polite way. So that's what you can call prompt development if you want. And that's enough said about this one. It's a wonderful course, and to me, it was very useful, and I was developing much faster with it. The next course is a big new discovery for me, LangChain here. And it is a way to, no, Or maybe just start to show the main actors.
Welcome to this short course on LangChain for large language model application.
Okay, LangChain, if you're not familiar with that, LangChain, and this guy, it's an amazing guy. He is the author of LangChain. So he's just the right person to be there on the show. And even though I think these are medical scrubs, I don't believe he's a doctor, but rather he is a technologist. So a very popular library, and it is like that. If you just want to talk to ChatGPT, then you personally go and talk here, right? Hello. Okay, there you are. And you can say, as I was saying, and it remembers that what you were saying. We'll be back to this window. That's if you're a person. If you're a coder and you are, let's remove that. So if you are a coder like this, then you need to add a few things. For example, here in the browser, ChatGPT remembers what you said. But here it's one question, one answer. That's how the API is built. So it doesn't remember what you were talking about. However, LangChain does. LangChain adds models. You can talk to different models with the same code. It adds memory right here. It adds memory. And it's all very simple. You just use the library and it says that's how you use memory, or that's how you create multiple tasks. So that's very useful, but I found an interesting thing, in my opinions, personal opinions, is that is an attempt to standardize kind of every project. And LangChain is very useful for that, but it's hard to standardize every project. It doesn't quite work. I have a friend who thinks that somehow it will be productized, and it's not happening so far. ChatGPT is a wonderful product. These additional helper libraries, but there is not one standard library for every possible case in your life. It's like, I want electricity introduced into my life. Well, there are many, many different ways. Nevertheless, not only it is a very useful course, but I also heard one more very useful things. And with that, I need to take the next step here. So you're talking to ChatGPT, it helps. You have a LangChain library that gets memory and a lot of other things. And then you discover that you need a place to store all your documents, because the architecture needs one more element. For that, to explain this architecture, which maybe you saw it because it's kind of a standard architecture. Everybody's using this. So let's do this. Let's show the architecture. Kind of the architecture of today is you get the query. So the user is asking, where's my donkey? And the ChatGPT should ask, where did you leave your donkey? And then so on. And you want to send it to ChatGPT, which is very easy to do with the previous query. You add LangChain, and now it remembers what you said. But you're saying, no, I'm not interested really in my donkey, but I'm interested in my zoo. And ChatGPT doesn't know about your zoo. So you know about your zoo. That's a big document. I want a picture that would look like a document collection. Maybe multiple hearts. That's my zoo, and it is represented by a bunch of documents. So I need to say, this is the query, but keep in mind, ChatGPT, I have a bunch of documents that represent my zoo. Now it will help you to find your donkey. But how do you send these documents? The answer is that you put them in a database. And then when somebody brings you a query, you first run this query against the database. And the database gives you these the documents that are potentially relevant. Now, with these documents that are potentially relevant, you go to ChatGPT. Now, if ChatGPT knew about all about your zoo, maybe life would be easier, and it knows quite a lot. But you don't want to give away the zoo information or HIPAA-compliant documents or documents from the court or anything really that you don't want to give away. And maybe if you had your private version of ChatGPT, maybe you can add this to the training, maybe it would talk better, but practically that's not what happens. Practically, the architecture that you see everywhere is this. And it first takes your personal documents and allows them to store them in the database, special database. We'll get back to that. Then on every query, you go to that database, find only the documents that are relevant to your query, with the hope that that will be exactly right. And it's these documents right here that you present to ChatGPT, and you're saying, dear ChatGPT, these are the relevant documents, plus this is my query. Okay, so if you want to ask anytime, and I already have a few people whom I allowed to talk, now I'm clicking on all the rest. Perhaps you're bringing to ask a question. Here you are. And you will be able to ask your questions. Because it is just too quiet, and if we all talk, it will be more fun. Now you can all talk. Okay, and that is the architecture. Well, I told this to you guys many times, that is the architecture. And I feel it is such a valuable architecture that, remember, I shouldn't be giving it away, but I am, because after all, it's a standard architecture, you can find it anywhere. All right, that is what I wanted to show. Now, one additional word about this database. It's not really a database, it's a search engine. Like Elastic. And it's not really a search engine, because the regular search engine is taking your query apart, finds every individual word in this query, and then searches for one word at a time. Or you can try to do a combination. Nothing really works. Instead, people invented a syntactic search, where you present the whole query, don't break your words into individual tokens, just the whole query, and it gives you something that's relevant. And that's called semantic search. Now that's the story. The story is that you give it to a new smart search engine that's called semantic search engine, with one example of that being Pinecone. Pinecone, like this. So let us talk about this Pinecone for a while. Pinecone made Elasticsearch very scared, because look, Pinecone is taking away the lead. And it's extremely easy to use it. Just let me show you real quick how you use it. You just go to Pinecone, you log in, and now you can create an index like this. called create an index. Think of an index as a database. So each individual index is a database with very many tables, as many tables as you want. For example, let us say I have an application where potentially hundreds of thousands of lawyers can store their documents and then ask questions from ChatGPT. So it will be individual table in this space, in this database. Each instance runs on your choice of Amazon, Google, or whatever, and you pay $70 per month for that. But the nice thing that I discovered is that you can have multiple, as they call them, namespaces. Think of them as tables inside of the database, and so one database for the whole big app for multiple users. All right, and that all I told you last week. This week, I discovered something else by listening to this next course, LangChain course. It turns out that LangChain gives additional nice, I would say, glue maybe, or utilities. For example, you use LangChain to talk to your database, to Pinecone. But the beauty of what I discovered yesterday or the day before yesterday was that you don't need Pinecone, and you don't have to pay $70. That is because there is a local database. If we go back to this picture, Semantic or Pinecone or local semantic search. Now that is part of the application, and perhaps remote database is better for real applications, but semantic search or Pinecone search gives you one free index. You can start with that. After that, it costs. Local doesn't cost you anything. So that's what I'm implementing next. All right. So I was going through the courses, and I showed you the courses. And as we go, then to me personally, the utility of these courses is less and less. So really, the first was the best. But every little additional bit of knowledge can save you money. That's one thing you can say. That's building multiple applications, and what are the best practices? Well, here I find that it's like building different applications about anything, right? Sorry, there is no standard solution in life for every problem. So I find that useful, but not complete, and I would argue maybe there is no complete solution for every situation in life. Nevertheless, good course. And finally, there is yet another course, free so far. It's this new course. So if you click there, it's this one, Generative AI with Large Models. It's much bigger. I still have to take it. If I start this week, then I'll show you what I find about this course. But the link is there. I don't have to give you anything. It's multi-week, 3-week course, I think. Okay, that's all learning. Now, the next thing is practical. I want to show you the state of my own GPT projects. And first of all, we have talking to your documents through ChatGPT. We have it here. It's right now in test on the startup that I am part of. And it works like this. You are a lawyer, but you don't have to be a lawyer to play with it. You have your cases. Here are your cases. Then you create a new case like this one. And now you can upload your files. So here I have upload files. Some of them are paper scans. So internally we'll have to convert them to text. Some of them are PDFs. Some of them are videos. And videos we transcribe into text. So they are in the world of text all the time, and then you go to Casetify AI. Now, this says build an index, meaning send all that data to Pinecone, except that we don't bother the user with all these details. And if you click here, it says, I'll build this index. But you don't have to right away because this little I tells you, look, you have already built the index. There were 6 documents there. That happened then. So if you didn't add any documents, don't add anything. Just start talking. So what's the case is about? What is the case about? Well, magic, right? It goes away, asks Pinecone for similar queries, gets you the right documents, takes these documents to ChatGPT, and asks ChatGPT against this background, which is called context. What is the answer? Thinking. And then it says, that's a quick summary of all that there is. Now, I invite applause or amazement, because the lawyers who started looking at this, they said that is a world changer, right? Think of, okay, before you had the paper and then you had recordings of a police camera, all of that. Okay, we jumped through that, but now you can talk about that. How serious is that? How is that? And I can misspell, it will understand me anyway. Maybe I should have been more precise. Maybe I should have asked how serious is the case. But it still got it. That's because I was trying to be more precise because I didn't implement memories yet. I showed you how I should. I haven't done it yet because memory goes into its own problem. It's a stateless protocol. So I need to store the state somewhere with all the associated problems. But isn't that amazing? It gives you what it is. Well, that essentially is what everybody in the world will be doing soon. Because how can you avoid it? Well, I think general amazement, but no comment and no chat, nothing yet. Okay, so I think that's good enough. I can show you that another project, the one that I used to develop the technology first, and also to test it, because in this project, I know exactly what should work. The project is built on my personal collection of documents. That's 2,711 pages of the Talmud, and I've been Jewish attuned to this Talmud learning, so I learned every page and summarized every page, and by the way, added a picture. So if you want to know laws of divorce, then here you are. Go and learn laws of divorce, and we also give the picture. But now you can talk to Moses AI about this. And since I know what to expect, now that is a fast API, as you can easily see. And really, I need to add another API on top of that. But first of all, what is the divorce? Okay, let it talk to the ChatGPT, ask Pinecone, and send it to ChatGPT as a question. And the answer is, these are laws of divorce. It knows that it's talking to my version of the Talmud because it uses the terms from there. Okay, I just need one more. And the way I will create one more layer so it will look like ChatGPT is, of course, ask ChatGPT how to add this layer. It already told me. It said you need to use React. And I said, I don't know React. It said, no problem, here's your code. And it runs. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's trying to get out of its obligation to talk to me. You see, it says, no, you need to log in. Well, I hope I will log in after all. And the last thing that I will show you is, okay, I have to wait till it logs in. Wow, very busy system. Can't believe it, but it is. Okay, one thing I wanted to show you is something that you don't see right now. Let's try to just once again open this. And if it doesn't work, I'll just tell you about this. Okay. The thing that I didn't know, I want to talk to ChatGPT. I don't want to just type, and then I'm into languages. I love languages, but I'm pretty bad at some of them. So for example, typing in Hebrew is very slow for me. So what I wanted is an application. Obviously, I'm thinking about an application, and that application should be on the phone and talk to me in any language. No such thing as yet, except if you're on iPhone or some special version of a MacBook. But as it turns out, there is a plugin that you can simply install in Chrome, and that will add chat straight to ChatGPT. So let's try to log in, and I will demo that to you. If I am not able to log in, so I'll just tell you. Last attempt to log in. Okay, so demos never work. That's my rule. But the story is that you see the familiar ChatGPT picture, but you have a little mic picture right next to it. So instead of typing your question, you just click on the mic there and you talk away, and then it answers. If you are on the Mac right here, then you get pretty much all languages, a few dozen. If you are on a Linux, my usual working environment, then you only have about 8 languages. That's amazing that there should be a difference, but there is one. So it's a great application. It's called Control ChatGPT, Voice Control ChatGPT, something like this. Yeah, Voice Control ChatGPT, and that is right here. So what I will do is, instead of trying to, oh, that is the best link. There you are. I'm giving you this link, something that I discovered, and that just shows you how much noise there is in the world. The greatest things are lying there like gold in the sand, and you don't even know that they are there. So I'm putting it here. And that's awesome, great plugin that you install. Plugin is free. You're still paying OpenAI if you are paying to them. So it's amazing developer for a plugin with very good quality. I just show. I'm not sure what's the real story is, but the quality is amazing. Okay. There are a few things that I also wanted to talk about. There was a letter from Andrew Ng. The letter was about something that is important, so I thought I'll show you. He talks about how you should regulate and what's the importance of that, and the new course. So I just mentioned it. The best thing here is I will mention every time that he says something very interesting, but I will also say, if you want to be current, well, it's about once a week. Subscribe to this letter. Everything is here. So if you want to go back and click on anything I talked about, it's there. That one is the listing that I didn't cover. It's just a collection of good advice talking to ChatGPT. So Everybody will give you good advice. That one also. Let's check that the repository is still there. It was awesome ChatGPT prompt. Additional bit of wisdom doesn't hurt. That's why it is there. Now, what I will do is this. I will stop share. That usually provokes some questions, feels better, and ask you, are there any questions or any desires for the next week? Usually, even if you don't say anything, I'll invent something to talk about. It's usually the same format. What are the latest news? Who said what? And what are the new developments that I've been carrying out? So I will be talking about something even if you don't have any suggestions. But of course, that's your time. That's the time to ask a question, or that is the time to say hello, or that is the time to say, okay, we'll talk to you next time, and prepare to send me an email, because if you have a question but I'm not ready to ask it here and now, you can always email me. The email is found right here. So I'm back to share, and that's the one link that you need. So I'm giving you that link on the chat.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
I'm Ranjit.
Yes, you are Ranjit. Yeah.
Thanks for this session. And yeah, I just see that you sent out that the link for this particular document.
Yeah, that's a whole story of what we've done from 6 months ago.
Okay. Yeah, this is my first session. First time I'm joining this meetup. So my question was like, where to start? I do have industry experience, IT experience of around 18 years with different technologies, but on the AI, I'm just starting to learn. So what would you do? Because there are multiple AI like chat, there are Google courses, AWS courses, right? With the AI.
Yes, that's what I meant. There's lots of noise in the world, and I will give you, I will not be shy about this. I will give you the best advice. It's first of all, the best time to start, because you don't have to learn all the other stuff that people used to learn. Linear regression, logistic regression, the neural networks, all of that is really obsolete because it's there, it's part of the technology, and you might even learn about this, but practically you need this only course. If you start there, you'll know what to do next. So it's this one, the very first one.
Okay.
And that will take you a day or two of good work. And then you'll be on your own. Or just ask me another question. Now what's next? And of course, I will say maybe 2 and 3. Maybe that is what's next. But by then you will already know, is that a good advice or no? So that's the step number 1, and it is the best introduction.
Okay. Yeah, I signed up for something, some Google generative AI course from work, but I haven't started yet. And I started taking some Udemy course, and then what you mentioned, they are teaching linear regression and all of that.
Exactly.
A lot of math in that. But like as you said, I think you nailed it. Like basically, like practically, like we need to know how to apply what is already developed, right? How to consume that now at this point of time.
Exactly, right. There's nothing wrong knowing all of that and learning all of that, and Azure and AWS, they're all there, right? But practically, I would say ChatGPT beats everybody by many, many years of development. They've done something that nobody did. They often ask Sam Altman, who is the CEO of ChatGPT or OpenAI, so why you were successful where the others were not? Everybody wanted kind of AGI. It's a generic AI, can talk about anything in any language. And usually Sam Altman answers, well, we just like it to have good people and that we work as a team. You cannot believe that. But you can believe that they concentrated on just that one idea. For everybody else, the big models are another nice thing. For them, that was the thing. They really bet their life on that. The bet worked out.
Okay.
So I'm glad you asked this question.
This is Jonathan Cooper from Austin. If I
Hi,
could just,
Jonathan. Yeah, I'm very lucky. That Zoom really tells me who is talking. Yes. Hi,
yeah,
Jonathan.
I had heard on your comment on why OpenAI came up with the technology they did. One of the aspects I'd heard was that essentially Google, their business model is around selling you their top links, you know, the ads, and those aren't necessarily the best match. And so their business model would be harmed by, you know, giving you the best match to your search, since that's not necessarily
Wow.
pays them.
You're
So,
saying they didn't really want to do it because that's not their business model.
yeah, that and you know, it's the same with when like Microsoft was really behind as far as their OS, because
Yes.
their OS model was their big money maker, and so if they
Mm-hmm.
disrupt that, they disrupt their big money maker.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a paper called "We Have No Moat."
Yes, I saw this paper. That's OpenAI just saying, guys, we hit you in the face with ChatGPT, and please
Well,
come and regulate.
it was a no, the "We Have No Moat" was a leaked paper from, or not paper, but a leaked memo or email from Google, and they were saying that that none of these models have any special, you know, technology behind them, that can't be done open source, and that the open source models are perhaps a few weeks to a few months behind the closed source models. So even OpenAI can't keep up with the open source, that's because then, you know, as you've demonstrated and everyone else has demonstrated, the development that goes on once these things get to open source or get to the wider population is phenomenal. So yeah, if you Google "We Have No Moat," you'll see this leaked memo talking about how basically every company is going to get their lunch eaten by open source AI.
Yes. It's an amazing thing that you told me now, because of course, these are big companies, and we hear little people talking about them. But when Google came and upset the search space altogether, back then, Yahoo didn't want people to do search, because then they go away from Yahoo. And then the model was that keep them on your site. So I'm very much amazed that Google would repeat the same idea. We don't want to give you good search, because if we give you a real language model, we'll kill our own business. In other words, it sounds from what you're saying, they repeat the same mistake that their competitors made before. But my practical experience is that I ask ChatGPT about anything. I don't use Google. And I think that's a terrible thing if that happens to Google, because their only source of money is paid advertisement. They're not so diversified as Microsoft that anything could be done, is done by Microsoft. That's interesting to see. I'm very glad I'm not Google right now. I was, maybe I was glad to be Google before, but now I don't know how you would fight ChatGPT. Their model is the whole world, and we give you intelligence, and who can fight with us? Once in a while, they ask some Altman, well, I'm building another competitor to ChatGPT, and here he honestly says, good luck, it's impossible. We're so different, we're so much ahead that, and by the way, they ask him, how much does it cost to train your model, what, 100 million? This is much, much more. So you would get a feel that it's $1 billion to train it, if not more.
Yeah, it's they're ahead because right now, yeah, they've it takes so much to train their models, but once their models, I think it was Llama that got leaked from Facebook, and because I think the article points out that Facebook surprisingly has been the most benefited by the open source, because their model was leaked and it was essentially cloned. And so most all of the I believe most all of the open source developments are easily mapped to the Llama code, even though it's not been done on the Meta AI model. It's done on the open source model, but it's closest to the Meta AI.
Yes,
So
yeah, I agree, except that it's a bit more of a gossip. Practically, they are the best, hard to compete against them, build everything on them, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
But is there a secret source? Is there a secret source in the large language models, or is it just
No,
time?
that's what the assessment was, is that there's no secret sauce, that
Right.
essentially is just, you know,
Right.
a money that you can spend training the model.
Right.
And that's going to reduce over time.
But the data is needed for the model, and data is always needed to be updated. You always have to use the latest data. When the data changes, the model has to be updated. So there's that.
Not quite, because this
quite? Okay.
architecture that I showed you, this one,
Yeah.
it says as far as the latest and greatest data, well, it's stored in the semantic search. You don't have to retrain the model. You train the model until 21, and surprisingly enough, that's good enough. The last 2 years are right here.
Okay.
First, go to relevant information, and then present it to ChatGPT.
I guess I was speaking more in the context of a private company's large language model. And that has to be always probably updated, because
Yes, here, but it is updated here. You don't have to retrain the model.
yeah, if you have a
And
private
then
company,
you'll notice there's a lot of talk that, oh, they will not succeed. You'll find this wishful thinking and an attempt to derail OpenAPI, like all kinds of things why they won't succeed. But you see what's going on. They do succeed in a big way.
it's
The whole humanity
good
is
for the
now on
consumer. Yeah,
ChatGPT.
good for the
Yes.
consumer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I love those discussions. Thank you very much. Oh, and the last thing is that just recently they added calling functions from ChatGPT. So some people say it's great, enormous improvement, and I have not found the great use for it yet. But you can think of that. That's another way to add fresh data. Instead of putting it all into an additional semantic search, you just write a function that will go out, search the internet, and bring you the result. That's already working. The latest model has it. So you add the function, and ChatGPT will use that function if it finds that it needs it, because it's not always following your instructions, and sometimes it's given freedom not to use your functions. You give it a function that says, no, I don't want it. Okay, that's an interesting thing, but it essentially is another way to add fresh data. The example that they gave is, you want to know the weather in Boston, so there's a function to find out the weather is Boston right now. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. Get in touch, stay in touch, and send your questions. But meanwhile,
Keep questioning. Always question, Mr.
Yes.
Einstein.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes,
Thank
I
you.
think it's always interesting. I have to say, I always work on this. I'm part of this startup I mentioned, and startups often start and stop, right? But here I said, guys, let me finish. I think that will be a big thing. Doesn't matter if you pay me no, but I want to implement this, and I think it worked. So we'll make an announcement about tomorrow, and we will put it in production kind of Saturday night. So I'll tell you next week, maybe I'll tell you, did it produce the necessary desired result? Hey, Mr. Lawyer, you can now talk to your use case. That was never like this before. And I work with the lawyers who are always in court, and they bring the latest news and they say, it's unbelievable. I talked to the judge, he didn't know what the real law was. And nobody in the courtroom knew what the law was. Kind of, can the police stop a person because it's, yes, it is night, but he doesn't see the license or whatever. I don't understand what they're talking about. But if you can just ask this question with the background of your document, that changes everything. Okay, I'll report next week. Yes, thank you very much. Have a great July 4th. And I wish everybody a good week in front of you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.